streaming go live, and we are live. So, Kamui, tell us about it.
Well, you need to be able to tell us about it, because I don't know. I just hear the sound of my voice as I speak, not through a recording, but because I am talking out loud.
Well, now
and
you'll be able.
Fun fact: you can hear yourself when you talk out loud.
You'll be able to hear yourself on stream
popular
now.
belief.
So you will be able to hear yourself. So there you go.
Yeah,
it is a good thing.
I don't know when I'll get around to it. You see, that's where we run into the problem.
Okay, so Kamui, how available are you to look at things right now?
What do you mean? Like, do you need me? Well,
like
I was
visually,
gonna go make my
like
stop.
with your
Still
eyes,
by the
like
computer.
at a screen of which has Discord up.
Does it need to be right this second?
Yeah. That's the question.
Okay.
How available are you?
Well, I'm currently by the computer. I'm waiting to go back upstairs to make my salad, but I'm still by the computer at the moment.
So then
meaning I am available.
Okay, so there you go. You answer the question. All right, so I'm posting the thing in the general chat. So everyone look at the general chat. By the way, Lightning, so you can look at this too, because I updated this. So we have a guest today. Mr. Lightning Snow, why don't you introduce yourself?
What's going on, guys? First time on this podcast. It's been a long time coming because I've been trying to get on here. They invited me a long time ago, and scheduling, you know how it is. But no, I'm finally glad to be on here. Thanks y'all for inviting me on here.
Woo! So I had to officially invite him on, of course, and so I posted the official invite in the chat. By the way, Kamui. Yeah. So when he was live streaming, I made this. Because he was like, well, you guys have asked me, but you haven't invited me, so I had to make the official invite, obviously. So
I was like, when he sent me this, and I looked on the Discord, I was like, the first thing I thought about, the first thing I said in my mind after I read it, I was like, all right, loud and clear. I hear you, loud and clear now.
So who wants to be the one to read this off?
Well, I'm the one being invited, so I by definition, I can't be the one that.
I think Oodie should read it as the author
it's gonna be
of the
your
invite.
first reaction reading it out loud.
I already read it.
Yeah, I figured. Okay, so official
You told me to look in general chat, so the first thing I did was follow your instructions.
Officially, I hereby decree that officially the chivalrous recipient of this invite, Lightning Snow, have been officially invited as guest, professionally so, officially, onto the Walky Talky podcast, podcasting platform podcast, as an one singular guest officially. As it is written, so forth in this declarative decree, this contract of God officially. As written on this day of the 2nd of May to 2024, signed the great Odysseus of Ood, Senior the First. So thoughts?
Yeah, that's pretty official.
Well, he could have,
that's pretty
Viz
official.
Media, is that the official source, or is that a fan translation?
Well, it is the original.
Because I don't see Viz Media anywhere on that page, so I'm not confident that it's official.
But I'm still alive, so it can't be Death of the Author.
But I don't see Viz Media, so it can't be official.
That's fair. You got me there.
This is just OP scam.
Well, I tried to make it as clear as day that it's official. But hey, to be fair, Kamui, the OP scans technically are the more official version to us now.
Yeah, they're more accurate, but they're not official.
Okay, fair enough. Or unofficially better. I love it.
Yeah, literally. Although their mistakes are objectively goofier, but I think on average they're doing better than business lately. I don't know why I love Kawaki.
So let's get into that. Lightning, so what have you thought of the Boruto translations as of recent?
Kind of elaborate on what you mean by translations.
Well, you know, like the Japanese to the English.
Yeah, the translation of the languages.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. I don't really pay attention too much. I just read through it, and that's about it. I mean, it's
Which
like
is
one of those
fair.
things. Which is one of those things where it's like I'm having to digest everything as it's going on, and I got to take a lot of it at face value. So I got to be honest. Like the first thing I'm thinking about is not the the translations. That being said, though, I mean, I can read it well enough, so I guess I can get through a chapter. So I guess if that says anything, um, but yeah, that's that's pretty much
The
it.
main reason we're bringing it up is because in some chapters it's just so blatant. Like I'm not a Japanese speaker, but it's so blatantly obvious that I know that it's messed up. That's where we ran into the problem.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, because like to me, it's like not that it's not that it's not an issue to nitpick at, but I typically try not to like, because it is one of those things like I have seen people translate it themselves in different like versions of the manga panels and whatnot. So I've seen a couple different like takes on what is translated and whatnot. So I mean, generally it's all the same. Like it's like they have the same sense, like just worded differently. But I said for the most part, I'm able to get through a chapter. So at the end of the day, if I can get through a chapter, I give it a W.
The real problem was chapter 8, when you get a completely different message from Mitsuki. In one case, you think he potentially is coming out of the closet, and the other one is just he's asking why Ada loves Kawaki, which is a little bit different.
That omnipotence Shinjitsu sure is a pretty powerful technique.
I think it would be funny if that was actually intentional. Like Shikamaru just is literally saying the word wrong, but that would only make sense if Boruto corrected him afterwards.
Well, but no, because Boruto
But
says,
no, it's a
I understand he
Shinjuu.
says this afterwards, but maybe Shikamaru is omnipotent or he just knows the future as well. Maybe Shikamaru knows that if he speaks the word omnipotent, he won't remember it, but if he says Shinjitsu, then he'll remember it. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's a
He's
workaround.
purposely saying it wrong.
Next chapter is going to be the Shinflutsu.
Oh, God.
If they put Shinkatsusu in the canon material, I'm gonna be so happy.
That's a good question. Lightning Snow, which version of the story do you read? Do you read the Viz or one of the, other ones?
Both, just in case there's like, because I do it for more context, because like at some point on my channel I am going to do Boruto content, at least more often, way more than I do now. So I always try to typically try to look at both translations just in case someone tries to, I don't know, not debate me so much, but more so just like point out something, and I need to go and look up both translations just to make sure I know what they're talking about. Because one like we said earlier, like one translation could literally say one thing and the other one could say something kind of similar but have a different connotation to it. So very nitpicky. I know it seems like I'm going out of my way to read like two separate versions, but I typically read both. If you had asked me which one I prefer, though, if that's what you're asking, I'd probably go with Viz, honestly, just because it's, not to sound like cliche, but it's a safer way to go when you're translating Naruto or Boruto anime.
I mean, at this
Usually the
rate.
Viz sounds more Englishy, yeah, but I feel like it's starting to go the other way. But usually Viz sounds nicer to read, because sometimes I feel like OP Scans has it, or whatever, whoever's doing it, Ragnarok, whatever they're called now. They've improved, because before it was so obvious that like whoever was translating it was not an English speaker, so the English version doesn't sound like English. But lately, I think they've been doing better.
Yeah. But you used a very particular word there. Debate. So, Kamui, let's talk about Himawari's genetics, because there's surprisingly, unironically, a lot that we haven't talked about in terms of that as of yet. So, So
Okay.
Lightning Snow, why aren't Himawari's genetics relative or related to anything currently? It's irrelevant.
I mean, are you asking me rhetorically?
No. Just why aren't they?
Let me ask you the question properly. Do you think Himawari's genetics are related to what we're currently seeing in the story whatsoever, in any shape, form, or fashion?
Not really. I mean, it does kind of seem one of those things that's kind of being pulled out of thin air, but I try to I don't know. I try not to take everything at face value when it comes to Boruto anymore, at least like in the new chapters, because I feel like we're getting all this new information, right? Because a lot of these chapters, I mean, I gotta be honest with you, like the second that I saw Boruto being able to use the planetary Rasengan or whatever you want to call that, like, and then like going on to him being able to use purple lightning, and then you got the Himawari Kurama stuff, like you get all this stuff that's being shot at you like one after the other, and so you're meant like, I don't know if the author Kishimoto is just like not understanding that we're having to process all these things coming after this, like again one after the other. So I try not to take it at face value like right out the bat, because I feel like at some point there's going to be something that's more explained on why these events are happening the way that they're happening, including like the stuff with Himawari, because it did kind of leave me scratching my head a bit. I will not lie. And so I kind of, again, with me being more of a Naruto based like channel and whatnot, I'm just kind of like rolling with the punches, I guess, is like my main thing. So to answer your question, no, it doesn't make sense, but at the same time I'm like, something's got to be explained, and if it doesn't get explained, then I'll be a little pissed off. But because then
As
it
a
just
side
seems like
tangent question, are you happy that Kurama's back?
Oh,
Or
definitely,
you
yeah.
like
Oh, definitely. Because it's funny, because like I'm not trying to be like one of those guys that says they called this, but I I was literally having a conversation with one of my people that I have on my channel every now and then. His name's Kenny. I was at his house. We were literally having like a 3-hour conversation at his house about the way that Boruto's story is going, and this was one of the things that we brought up. And literally, I kid you not, he was the one that mentioned to me. He's like, you know what? Like, I feel like, Kurama's got to come back at some point, and like, what other way to do it than to like have him be, a Jinchuriki for Himawari. And at the same time, I was like, yeah, but like, how would that work though? And he's like, well, probably it wouldn't be Kurama, from Naruto. It would be like a different Kurama. It would be new Kurama, but like, I mean, it works better this way, because now that it's baby Kurama, Himawari probably, I'm assuming, won't have to work as hard to gain baby Kurama's friendship as it was for Naruto all those years. So I think there's a good chance that she is able to adapt and learn like KCM stuff early on. Not like super early. I hope not. That would be like a total left field, that she just automatically starts learning how to use Kurama. Yeah. So not mean to digress, but yeah, like I to answer your question, yes, I'm totally happy he's back, and I do like the idea of it being a new Kurama, because it sucks when you think about Kurama's death in Boruto, but at the same time, it's like it's a fresh start for the character. I feel like, so, because the way that Kurama went out was like a boss, and I don't think I changed his death scenes per se, because of how impactful it was. So yes, I am glad he's back. I'm glad the way he's back, and I'm just hoping they don't screw it up.
So do
any
you
further.
think, besides what you want, do you think this is like this Kurama has all of his memories and just is small? Or do you think it's like he's literally starting from scratch? He just knows he's the Nine-Tailed Fox and nothing more. Like, where do you think he's at?
I could see both happening. I'm going to assume right off the bat that it's going to be it's a new Kurama, but I could see it being a thing. Like, I don't know if any of y'all have watched Full Metal Brotherhood at all.
It's
but-
Oodie's favorite show, actually.
It's not.
Hey, right there with you. It's my
Not
favorite
like
anime
it.
show. Well, Full Metal. No, Full Metal Alchemist in general is my favorite anime. I don't want to get into that, but there is a scene with like the second greed, and at some point he starts regaining the old greed's memories because of some stuff that happened. So it's like I feel like that might happen with this Kurama. Like, you know, maybe at first he doesn't know, like he doesn't know. It's a brand new Kurama, but at some point maybe he starts regaining the old Kurama's memories through some weird event. So maybe
Could be like Kashi and Koji, who's kind of implied to at least share some of Jiraiya's feelings or memories, because like he's like, oh, maybe I'm just being nostalgic or whatever. So it could be, even if he is like different, it could be kind of like that, where he still kind of knows the past. He just hasn't experienced it himself.
Yeah. I can see that though. I can see both ways. I could, and I'd be okay with either one. Honestly, I'd be okay with him regaining his memories or getting glimpses of his memories, or just starting from scratch. Like I said, it's a brand new slate for the character, and either way, because there are people I've seen like just hate this plot point, and I myself am still scratching my head about it. But I mean, I get it. I get it. People who don't like it because it does kind of just come out of left field, and I've even seen some people say that it goes so far as to cheapen Kurama's sacrifice. But I don't know if I go like that far. It just depends on where they take this character at this point. If they, like I said, if and this is what brings me back to like Kishimoto, like putting out like, okay, we're only like 8 chapters in, and so much has happened. So like, if he decides to go completely left field, and in the next chapter I see freaking Himawari gain KCM chakra mode or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm checking out definitely, because there ain't no way she's getting chakra mode now. So that's like one of those things again. Like I'm trying not to take everything at face value yet. I feel like something's got to be explained further at some point. It sucks that we have to wait a little longer for each chapter to come out, and so we are having to be, just sitting here wondering for how many weeks about like how this is happening, why is it happening, and what's going to happen next.
So I have like 1,800 billion questions, and I'm just gonna keep asking them. Oodie, feel free to like stop. So hypothetically, it's been pretty clear what you're hoping for. If it turns out that it's just like straight up Kurama, he's literally the same as, it's like he never left, except he's just smaller now. Will you be unhappy, or you'd be like, oh, whatever, at least it's Kurama?
It depends. Like, at the end, would I be mad with the end result of that? No, but I would be upset if they they have it done in a weird, unorthodox, like almost kind of, convenient way. Because like, let's be honest, like, I mean, a lot of the late Naruto like war arc was very convenient plot contrivances. At best, they were extremely convenient coincidences. So like if that ends up happening with this plot point, I'll be a little bit upset, but I guess the end result is okay. Like I don't mind old Kurama coming back. It just sucks because that if it is old Kurama that comes back, he's not tethered to Naruto, and that's what that's what we've grown up with. So it will be a little bit left field. And honestly, man, like a part of me is gonna feel bad for Naruto because like, and for a couple of different reasons, because obviously he lost his, you could argue, one of his closest friends, for one thing, and for two, Naruto, like in my opinion, has been shafted in strength so much in Boruto. I've talked about this with Dygo plenty of times that like we feel as though Naruto should have been way stronger than he's been presented, and so like now, I don't know. I just feel bad that like I would feel bad if I don't know. I'm getting ahead of myself. I just feel bad for Naruto.
Yeah. For me at least, I think I'm one of those people where I'm a little bit biased because I like Kurama so much. I didn't really want him to die. Not that I had a problem with it, but because he's back, I just like, I'll take it. Like, but
Like I
I'll
said,
recognize if it's
never
bad
took Lightning
writing.
Snow for a Boruto apologist. I don't know. I just don't. I'm not trying to take it at face value because I'm trying to get into the story. Like no crap. Like I am trying to get into the story. It is tough for me at some point because of how left field things are getting, but I don't know. I'm
I mean,
trying to hold it. I'm
for
trying to hold
us,
out hope
it's
because it's Boruto.
have you started from the beginning, or do you start at Tulu Vortex?
No. I started from the beginning, and
Okay.
it's and that's one of the things. Like, and I've talked a bit about this with Dygo every now and then. I'm like, yeah, like I kind of tune in and tune out of Boruto. I gotta be honest. I tune in when like a new chapter's released, just so I can stay up to date on what's going on. But I gotta be honest with you. I'd be lying if I said I was 100% invested in it. Just because I've told this to a couple of other people, like, man, to this day I feel like what they could have done instead of Boruto was done anthology seasons of characters that we know little to nothing about. Um and yeah, I'm not trying to get off on a tangent here, but that's why, like, when people ask me, are you still watching Boruto? And this, like, that's unfortunately my answer. Like, yeah, I'm keeping up with Boruto is what I think is what people are wanting to know is like, yes, I am keeping up with Boruto, but currently I'm not as invested on it as I would like to be.
I think this is a hot take,
Yeah,
but
I
even
mean,
though I would love both, I personally would prefer a continuation of the series, just going down the timeline, than I would to go back to events that even if we don't know about them, we know they already exist in the timeline, so it doesn't overall change or shape the plot that we already have, because we already know how technically it ends. So I want to see how it continues.
I think it
Yeah, but
depends. I can't say on a general basis. I I would prefer one because, for example, with Star Wars, you have the original trilogy. I was way more interested in the prequels than any sort of sequel to that. I wanted to know how, like Star Wars prequels is a good example. Like, I just like that. I actually like the prequels more than the original, believe it or not. So for Naruto, I think both work for me. I don't. I want both. I don't care what order I get them. I'm just like, I want both.
Daigo said Disney killed Star Wars. That's facts.
Oh
I
yeah,
hate
no,
the
I'm
prequels.
I did not
Um,
care for the pre. I watched the
yeah,
sequel, but I was not a
yeah.
fan.
No, I agree though,
No,
Kamui.
it's
I
funny.
think
It's funny you.
I think the prequels definitely work in all of Naruto Shippuden. Like, even though I'm sure other people don't like them, the Indra Ashura backstory, Hagoromo's backstory, Kaguya's backstory, I like those episodes, as well as just other episodes that we get in Shippuden, flashing back to like OG Part 1 or whatever, even if it's like technical filler. But I think even if it's like more continuing of the story, giving us details or context clues that we don't know. Technically, Minato and Kushina's story is a flashback. Kid Obito, we don't need that, but it's almost essential. So it all
Yeah.
basically
No,
is
I
needed
agree.
in a way. Yeah.
I agree. And it does become a thing where, like, I don't know who I had. I'm pretty sure it was like Daigo or maybe it was Sage, but when I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? I reread a chapter in the War Arc, and I'm like, I think it was when Hagoromo like first met Naruto, whatever, and he was in his mind or whatever, and he's telling the history about Kaguya, and Naruto blatantly asks like, where did you come from? And then Hagoromo says like, it doesn't matter where you come from. Like, yeah, it freaking does. Like, we need to know if
Yeah.
there's any more.
What do you
Like,
mean it doesn't matter?
I was like, we need to know like who else coming out here. Like, if there's any more of these guys, which there are, obviously. So it's like, but my thing about like the whole, I don't mind a continuation like at all, at all. I think it just depends on how it was handled. It's one of those things where like I think what we should have gotten before Boruto, if I want to be honest with you, is a little bit more of Naruto and Sasuke's and everybody else's younger life. Because I know in the anime they did some you know um filler arcs for certain characters, and then when you take the novels that were some of them were before the Boruto timeline, so like
Yeah.
yeah, I get it, but I feel like we could have on screen had more time to dive into that if we were going to get a continuation of that, because that I think would have better cemented, like show us the actual, like get us to the point of Boruto and Himawari's actual birth. Like give us like seasons getting up to that point. That way we are invested into the birth of them. Like we're invested in Naruto's kids now. As opposed to like, okay, it's just been, you know it's been like a decade or two, or a decade, a little more than a decade, and now we're supposed to be invested in Naruto's kid, who's now about to graduate from the academy. So it's like I want to be invested in Boruto. I just think that what I will say for Boruto, and at least for the anime, and this is where I think the anime actually does it better than the manga in some aspects, is that in the anime at least we are given more time for Boruto in his younger life. Because if I when I look back in at Naruto, at least in the main timeline, like we didn't get a whole lot of like part one Naruto. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you really look back at it, like we didn't get a whole lot of time with him, going on other missions or whatever. I guess the movies are supposed to be like a tie into that kind of thing. Like we didn't get a whole lot of younger Naruto as a kid, because everything was happening so fast. You had the Land of Waves was like the only real like mission there where really went on, and then you had the tuning exam that rolled around, then Orochimaru invading, and then you had the search for Tsunade, and then the Sasuke retrieval mission. Like you didn't really have time to like see Naruto, be invested in the life of a ninja like most conventional ninja are. So I think I think we could have benefited from that a little bit more. So what I will say for the Boruto anime is that we're getting more of not just Boruto as a kid, but like we're getting more screen time for the other side characters as his classmates and whatnot. So that's what I will say, is that the anime does it a little bit better in the manga, because we're getting more time to be invested in not just Boruto, but the other classmates. Even if we aren't invested in them now because of how freaking OP everyone's getting in Boruto Blue Vortex, but still, I don't know. I love being invested in side characters in any show, not just Naruto or Boruto. So like if there's a moment or chances for them to get screen time, I like the idea of getting invested into it.
I get that, and I do think my opinion's probably in the minority. I'll admit that going into this, but I still prefer it the way we got, even though that way would be almost just as good. This way, just that first reaction of almost the culture shock of the time skip, just doing the in medias res, the shout out screenwriting, to where you basically start at the middle of the story and then go back to explain things. That's similar to what they're doing with Boruto 2 Blue Vortex. Technically,
like
it's
the
what
Odyssey
they did with
did
the
that.
flash forward scene. It's what they did with Naruto, technically. Not really, because you're supposed to like start at the middle of the story and then go forward from there and then introduce the rest of it through flashbacks, which is really more so what Boruto 2 Blue Vortex is doing. But especially with Boruto, just seeing the new world. So as you experience the story, you're experiencing the world basically for the first time all over again. So it makes that part of the story, regardless of the story, just more enjoyable in general, because you're learning these characters in this new world for the first time, basically seeing how it's changed, how it's evolved. But also the fact that you have Naruto and Sasuke and all these legacy characters, they're not just written out of the story, they're still there, and they're still active members of the story, to the point that I'd say they're main characters, especially Naruto and like the first arc, going to like the tuning exams movie, whatever you want to call it, Momoshiki arc. He's literally like the deuteragonist, the secondary main character. It's like, it isn't Boruto's story, it's Naruto and Boruto's story. In fact,
That's
Boruto
literally what he says at the beginning of the manga.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
regardless of what you want to say
I
now, but yeah, back then.
Yeah, no, I agree. No, I agree. I mean, Naruto's name is literally still in the title. I mean, so
Well,
I
not
mean,
anymore,
Yeah.
but
not anymore. Yeah, not anymore. But no,
unfortunately.
and I get, and you know what, you make a good point, because I mean, I myself, I'm not even embellishing anything. I'm not like standing on. I remember seeing the very first manga panel of the board, like the first Boruto chapter, because they did that. I remember exactly what you're talking about. They did
yeah.
that fast forward, midway through, and I'm like, because like I remember thinking to myself, like, you know what, Naruto's a chapter in my life now that's closed. I kind of want to put it down, because I was like 18 or something like that whenever it wrapped up in the manga. So I was like, all right, now it's time to put it down, moving on with it. And then lo and behold, they pulled this freaking 180 and they showed that scene where all the I'm gonna tell you, the second I saw all the Hokage's faces crumbled, I was like, oh, you have got to be kidding me. Now I need to know what happens. So like now I have to be invested.
Yeah, they
because of this
clickbaited you.
scene. Yeah, so no, I totally get it. And that was genius. That is that mean because not a whole lot of series do that. Like, so I'm not saying it's like revolutionary. There are a few that do stuff like that. So, but what I will say is that like they do it effectively. And what I will say again is that they made us wait for it this time around. They like you said, like the Sasuke one and Shippuden, we didn't have to wait too long unless you're just like solely watching the anime. Then yeah, you gotta wait for a minute because there's all the filler stuff that's going on, and
It's
you have
not
to wait.
in the manga. It's the anime only.
Yeah, yeah, and you have to wait especially if you're waiting like week by week for every episode to come out. Yeah, you gotta wait a while, but in the manga you get there faster. But this and this Boruto one, yeah, we had to wait for a minute to get to this point. So I totally agree. I just one of those things. Like I feel like if I knew going in that there was gonna be a continuation, I just would have liked Naruto as just seeing him grow as a young adult. I mean, we already did technically, but you know what I mean, like a younger, older adult. I guess that's the best way to put it. Because I mean, this is like I don't know, this is like a hot take, but I mean, I liked seeing like all the new outfits everyone was putting on, and the drip. I mean, Naruto's was kind of but like everyone else was, drip was awesome. So like it would just been cool to see like them as the younger, older adults going on missions and whatnot, and seeing the arcs that they go through first before we got to Boruto. That's just my thing.
It would be cool, but in a way, I hate to say it, because I do want to see it, but in a way, it would almost ruin the sanctity of it, because like Naruto's a coming of age story. We started as kids. We watched Naruto grew up. We grew up with Naruto. At the end of the story, we get the final movie where he's 19, around the age where we're probably around somewhat that age, hopefully. But then you get the long time skip. Naruto's an adult now. That's several years in the future. I think you need that time skip to really cement the jump to the next generation. And then following Boruto, the kid, for the next generation, for your kids can now be watching Boruto. It's cool because it's like, oh man, you don't even know this has a whole story that like I grew up with that you haven't even seen yet. And it's like, it's really a whole different
I totally
generation.
agree.
Yeah. Not only that, but the fact that we're
just like they do with the novels, I think they could have just done movies or like some special anime stuff.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I totally get that. Well, if I got to be honest with y'all, like I've said this over and over and over again, but part of the reason why I also didn't want to watch Boruto was because I knew going in that my boy Kakashi wasn't going to be in it as much. So I was like, because like I'll be honest with you, like Kakashi made a lot of what Naruto was for me. So it's like, knowing that he wasn't good, I mean, I'll be dead honest with you. Like, I was gonna stop watching Naruto the second I thought Kakashi was actually dead. So I was like, if that tells you anything, like, yeah. So like, I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I picked Boruto back up when I heard that he was in a few episodes here and there. So I was like, all right. I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. And like, don't get me wrong, like, the story itself is actually really good. Like, I will say that like they're not bad. They can hold their own as far as like telling a story without the characters that we grew up with, but I don't know. It's to me, there's something about it, and maybe it could be as a result of like me kind of jumping on the bandwagon because everyone hates Boruto. And again, like even if I thoroughly look at it from an objective standpoint, like I still am not the biggest fan of it, but I will say that it's getting better than what it has before. So
actually, on that note, I wanted to ask, so I feel like Oodie and I are the only people who have our take on this. But generally speaking, do you prefer Kodachi's part of the story, which is basically up until Baryon mode, or do you prefer Kishimoto, or at least allegedly Kishimoto's story, which is Baryon mode and beyond? Which do you think is like objectively better for Boruto?
I want to say Kishimoto because, like, if I had to look at it from an objective standpoint, like, even though he made some questionable decisions at the end of Naruto, like, toward, like, in the war arc specifically, I honestly say that like I trust his writing and storytelling a lot more because excluding the war arc, I mean, dang near every freaking other arc is a win. You know, there's only a couple of arcs that I can like really nitpick of them, like that were not that good. But looking at all of Naruto objectively, he nailed this series, bro. He nailed it. So like I trust his storytelling and story writing a lot better, and so or a lot more, excuse me. And so I'd probably because I mean, whatever Kishimoto decides to do, I'll support him. You know, I'm not gonna hate the guy because I feel like he made some bad calls as in the story he's writing, but because I mean every author's gonna have that. But I gotta go with Kishimoto. He's the OG, and I feel like whatever he does, I feel like he at some point he comes up with you know at least he tries to come up with, even if like an event is like so out of left field, he does his best to try to explain it in a way where like, okay, I could see it could make this particular thing could make sense. Even though I do have to do some mental gymnastics, but I see where you're going. I can see where you're going from. So I answer your question. I know I keep going these long answers, but yeah, to answer your question, Kishimoto.
So I want to make sure. I don't know if my question is a little bit unclear. So I think Naruto is just straight up better than Boruto. Yeah. But what I meant was ignoring all of Naruto. I'm just talking about Kishimoto's writing in Boruto. So Naruto is irrelevant for this.
You can probably
do
see
you
where
prefer
we're going.
like the Momoshiki arc, Kawaki arc, Owl arc, or do you prefer the Code arc, Omnipotence arc, and Blue Vortex? That's more what I'm asking.
It's just the cadence of your tone of voice saying those arcs.
I don't even know. Like, I probably still go with Kishimoto just because I don't know. I enjoy his writing style. I really do. Again, even Boruto, like there's some stuff that I question, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily don't like Blue Vortex, but again, it's like I'm having to digest all this new things like 8 chapters in, and I feel like there's not much setup for it. But I guess that might be the point, is that we're supposed to like, you know, be taken back by all these things, but then we'll get like an exposition dump of like what all, you know, this means and how it ended up happening. Because we just came from a time skip, and again, all this stuff is happening one after the other. So trying to like think of how I'd even answer this question. I'd probably just stick with Kishimoto.
Well, something you said is that you trust Kishimoto based on Naruto. I agree, but like Kamui was saying, can't really do that for Boruto. The thing with trust, the reason I think so is trust has to be earned. I agree. That's fine. He did earn our trust through Naruto. The second part about trust is it has to be maintained. And so based on the cadence of Kamui's tone of voice with like the Owl arc and the Momoshiki and then like the disgusting voice, like the Code arc and the prophecy. There's some clear mistakes in those arcs, especially going into the 2 Blue Vortex. It ironically does the exact opposite problems of what Boruto Part 1 does, to where I feel like Boruto Part 1, like we were saying, it's similar to like, this is a weird comparison, but similar to like Adventure Time, to where it ended, and then it just jumped like 1,000 years in the future or whatever at the very end of the final episode, and then you get like the sequel series of Fiona and Cake, to where they're throwing you into the middle of the story, throwing you into the hot pan with the oil burnt, whatever the analogy words is, that is the words of that. And it's not giving you time to breathe. It's just focusing on the story and making sure that story is good, and you learn along the way. And so it's things like Shikadai's character. That's Shikamaru's son. The first time you hear about that, just like as an OG Naruto fan going into Boruto for the first time, especially when Boruto's new, there's an intrinsic value there that's just compelling and interesting, especially Sarada, Sakura, and Sasuke's daughter, and then you have a whole arc based around that. You get Boruto, Naruto, Himawari's son, and then you get the dynamic between those two. Are they going to end up with the same rivalry with Boruto with like Naruto and Sasuke, between Boruto and Sarda, you don't know. They could do literally anything. It's the intrigue of what they could do because they could do anything, and they're not giving you time to learn these characters or to adapt to this world. You do that along the way as you experience the story. Whereas with Two Blue Vortex, it's like they're not explaining it, but they're also not giving you a story. Like you said, there's no setup, because ironically, that's actually the opposite of true. It's been only set up to where the first like 5 chapters, this isn't a bad thing, by the way, this is good. The first like 5 chapters were pure setup to get to the first arcs. Like arc 1, we're in the middle of it right now. It started at like chapter 6 or 5 or whatever. And so it's in the middle of the story, so we can't really critique the first arc or the story yet. But what I will say about this first arc is it feels like a continuation of the Prophecy arc, like the Prophecy arc part 2, just based on how much recap they're doing, or how much they're trying to lean into the elements that were there, instead of, it's continuing off of that story instead of starting its own new story, it feels like, outside of the obvious plot details of like the Shinjuu or whatever. It's trying to be what it already was.
And then like, this is more, I don't know if we can get into the tangent if we need to, but the Omnipotence Prophecy arc just was literally incomplete. And we've critiqued that. I made an 1.5-hour video critiquing it once before. And it's like, okay, we wanted a continuation of the arc, but like in the present moment, not after a time skip. Like, it's just weird. Like,
and I mean, that's where you have to like handle a time skip aspect of storytelling really carefully. Not saying that like Naruto did it. I mean, personally, I feel like Naruto kind of did do it better.
Well, no, I will say that, yes.
Because
it's not saying like, it is saying. Actually.
Yeah, so I'm definitely saying it. But what I meant to say was, I feel like I'm not saying that Boruto's did it like worse or did like bad or anything, but I don't know. I know you said they're set up
way better.
Yeah, well, Naruto did it, but the thing is like it. I feel like because it hadn't been done before in like the Naruto universe, doing it again, you know, it kind of like, you know, makes it kind of a slap in the face a little bit to the first time skip. Like, and don't get me wrong, like sometimes you need a time skip. You know, everyone has, you know, One Piece has its time skip. You know, so like, I'm not saying a time skip isn't needed. Especially when all this chaos is going on, it might be best to get a time skip. Especially after like after the quote unquote end of the Omnipotence Prophecy arc. Maybe a time skip is necessary to kind of give you some breathing room, because again, there's so much going on that you know, a time skip might be needed for you to like take a step back and like, you know, I mean, it is a smart move to make when you're as an author, because you know, doing that as a fan, you know, as a reader, I'm having to sit here for what, I don't know how long, you know, stumped, you know, but at the same time, making all these theories about what's going to happen, how things are going to progress, like what do I think is going to happen. So, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I honestly, like, I appreciate a time skip aspect. It's just coming back in this story, all of a sudden, Boruto is like, planetary at this point. From what I've seen and heard, it's like, and don't get me wrong, that's fine. And as long as we get some decent like explanation later on after this arc is like kind of wrapped up, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I mean, the first time I saw the Boruto using the purple lightning on panel, I was like, what? But at the same time, I thought it was really cool. So I'm like, okay, like in my mind, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, okay, you know what? Is this Kishimoto's or whoever's way of like, you know, weaving in Kakashi into the story? Because like it's been told that Kakashi's supposed to be coming back at some point in the manga in a big way. So I'm like, okay, is this his like entry now? Like, are we finally getting him in here? And so that's again just roping me back in, hopefully. So yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, like something I want to reiterate is just the fact that how similar yet different Boruto is from Naruto. It's that culture shock that makes it so different, but it's still a continuation of the series. It's set in the same universe with these same characters, just following a different story in almost a different world, but it's still the same world. But like, it's those differences that make it unique and stand out. Whether you want to say it's a good or bad thing, it's at the very least different, and I can appreciate it for doing that. It's almost like riskier to do that in a way, not playing it safe, really going out there, trying something new, experimental. I think they did it pretty good, but like, it's everyone's up to interpretation. The thing is, it's a new series. I think they should do that regardless if it turns out good or bad. With Two Blue Vortex, it's, in my opinion, not doing that. Sure, it's asking questions that have yet to be answered, but it just feels like it's not a third new different series. And sure, it's a continuation of the Boruto series, but then don't rebrand it as a completely brand new series if you're gonna do that.
I get why they wanted to rebrand, but it's just like, you're technically just doing, I don't know, it's just wrong. Like, it's like, I get why you want to rebrand, but you're literally making a story that doesn't make sense now by doing this. It's just like, imagine like you no, like I can't even think of an example. Like it doesn't make sense. Like anyone read the Percy Jackson series before? Okay, you have the Lightning Thief book 1. Imagine book 2 was just the Percy Jackson series. It's just a new series. Like, it's like that's book 2. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
No, and like here's the thing: is like for me personally, as I'm like look back through these chapters, I don't mind crazy stuff being presented to me right out the bat, as long as, again, this kind of goes back to like us having to wait, until the manga comes back out because we have to wait a little longer for these manga, chapters to drop than usual. But like, I don't mind crazy stuff happening one after the other, as long as like there's, explanations of how this happened and how this happened, how that happened. How did Boruto learn the purple lightning, for example? Like I said earlier, like if you tell me that Kakashi's the one that trained him secretly, like he was secretly with them, him and Sasuke training Boruto, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Like I think it was like, oh crap, okay, that's pretty cool. Like, is and stuff like that. If there's a way that you explain better that Himawari suddenly has Kurama inside of her now, I don't mind her having Kurama, as long as the explanation of how it happened is given to me. For one thing, given to me, but two, at least an attempt at a reasonable way to do it.
Well,
which again,
about that, I don't think you're gonna. I'll let you answer how you feel about this. So technically, Boruto has already known Purple Lightning since part 1. Early part 1, he already has it in the hour. And the way that we learn this is through these Boruto data book profile cards, where it just says that Boruto has the Purple Lightning Jutsu at the bottom. It's like one of his 2 jutsu that he has, as an example. So Boruto's always had it. And I don't think they're going to explain it because of that.
That's the thing.
I mean, that'd be kind of hard to sell to me, because I would have not have known that as a like, what I'm saying? Like, I would have not have known that.
Because it's so different between the anime and the manga, but they say it's the same thing, but it's just not.
Yeah, I feel like anime Boruto, but cheat they use. They didn't know how to do it.
Well, like I feel like, unless I'm wrong, I feel like the chapter that in the Blue Vortex that he whips out the Purple Lightning is presented to us as this freaking WTF moment. Like what? Like how did he, when did he learn that? How did he learn that? Like, I don't know. That's the way that, like, as I'm reading it, that's, and I guess from audience's reactions after the chapter was put out, like we're meant to think of this as like, how did he do that? Like, how did he learn that? So that's why it makes me feel like there's going to be the explanation of why he just randomly has it, even though you say, yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just one of those things, like, I wouldn't have known about that, because I mean, I don't, we never, for one thing, we never seen him whip it out prior, but
that's
two,
the thing is, so I don't, but yeah, I agree with you. It's presented as if it's like a new thing, and it's like one of his multiple crazy jutsu he's learned. But then it's like, I put it in chat here. He's always had it. So why are we not showing it before and presenting it now like it's a new thing?
Oh boy, so that's what I'm saying. Like that I do hate because I would have been probably. I was honestly waiting and hoping, and there's a part of me that feels like I still kind of am now that you said that. That Kakashi's the one that taught him that. Like I think it's totally cool that that Kakashi's the one that to teach him that. I mean, because I know it's only anime exclusive, but we saw there is a few episodes or so that Kakashi actually trains Boruto for a minute. So it's like, and it's not so much the result of the training; it's more for me. It was like seeing them interact. Is pretty cool, and it's funny because I feel like Boruto and Kakashi are actually a little bit similar, a little more similar, at least from what I see, than Naruto and Kakashi. And that's only because that Boruto picks up on stuff kind of similar to how Sasuke and Kakashi does. Like he's presented as this like not he is a genius, but it's presented in a different way. He's still like Naruto's attitude, but with Minato's like talent or just ability to pick up on stuff. So that's for me. I actually enjoy that filler arc because I enjoy seeing Boruto and Kakashi on screen. I think they actually have pretty cool a cool
Are you
dynamic
referring
going
to the
on.
one
So,
with Deepa when he learns the compression Rasengan?
yeah, like
That's the best, that's the anime arc by far.
like honestly, like I was like, okay, like it's filler, sure, but it's actually decent filler, So and again, it wasn't because of the training per se, it was just because of their dynamic on screen. So because it's funny because like Kakashi's presented as like at first like not wanting anything to do with Boruto, like he's just annoyed with Boruto. But it's crazy that because as the day goes on, like okay, like it's just funny how because like Kakashi's like explaining things to Boruto as if he's having to explain it to Naruto way back when, but Boruto's picking up on stuff immediately, and I think that makes it like cool for Kakashi because he's like, okay, like it makes it a little bit easier because he's a genius. He knows how to pick up on stuff like that. So yeah, I digress, but yeah, that
Honestly,
kind of stuff
I
is
feel
cool.
Similar to
Kashi was
Sasuke.
just testing Boruto's like actual desire to train. I don't think he actually was annoyed. He just wanted to see like, all right, is this kid actually serious, or is he just saying,
Well,
"I want you to train me"? Like, does he mean it?
Kakashi,
I
yeah,
feel like that's
Yeah.
more. Of a Kakashi thing to do.
Kakashi knew that he was similar to Sasuke and that he's analytical and a genius and just skilled, but he didn't know whether or not Boruto had the drive that Sasuke did. Sasuke was doing everything to avenge his clan. Boruto doesn't have a goal or ambition like that. He has like things that like matter to him, but he doesn't have a reason for them to matter, just like a natural desire. So he's basically testing whether or not his resolve from like the Momoshiki arc has stuck and actually made an impact, a lasting impact, or if that was just like a fleeting moment that mattered at that moment but hasn't actually stuck with him.
Yeah, it's funny you say because like he had that goes on to what that conversation they had at the end of that episode where he's like, yeah, like we can't choose like the era that we're born into, so like instead of like whining about that, like how about we do what we can right now? It's like Kakashi like literally verbatim says something like that. He's like, yeah, it's like don't complain about what you can't change, let's just like focus on what we can do right now. And so that's what I'm saying. Like I honestly feel like they have a pretty cool character dynamic. And so like if you were to tell me that like Kakashi's kind of like, and it's funny because someone else actually brought this up to me. I can't remember who it was. Because someone's like, why would Kakashi like, train with a quote criminal like Boruto? Like, why would he go out of his way to train? Like, it's like, okay, well, the thing is like someone brought it to me like, well, a good point that like you could make is that you remember how at the end of Naruto when Sasuke was going to leave to atone for his sins, but Kakashi's like, hey man, like next time, like don't do anything too crazy anymore because otherwise I'll be held responsible. And it's like maybe there's like this thing where like maybe Kakashi's kind of like quote like punished too because like he kind of vouched for Sasuke and now Sasuke is kind of like a quote criminal now again. So it's like maybe it's kind of say or someone was like, no, my bad. It was because we were talking about like why is Shikamaru Hokage instead of Kakashi? Because people were saying like it should have been Kakashi. It's like okay, well, like maybe because Kakashi isn't allowed to be Hokage anymore because of Sasuke's stuff going on. Because
That's
he
a good
said that
point. He
if he
did
went
say
crazy
he's gonna
again or if he
take
did something again,
responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah, so that
Honestly,
might be that.
I would like that if they actually said it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's the problem. They don't. They don't have a line. Kakashi's not even. His name isn't even written in the Boruto manga anywhere.
I know. The only time
No
we ever see him in the
indication.
manga is in the Shin arc when he gets a phone call from Naruto. That is it.
And it's
That
not
is
even the
literally-
Boruto manga. That's the Naruto Gaiden
The
manga.
extension of Naruto Part
the
1, not even Boruto's timeline technically in terms of manga.
But
Like,
isn't that what the Shin arc though? Like I know it's technically in
No,
the
in the
but it's
Boruto
technically
anime
in
it is.
Boruto
No,
universe.
but these chapters are officially released as chapter 701 through like 707. Like there's 707
Oh, that's a bunch of
chapters
crap.
of Naruto.
Oh no,
yeah, it's a
no,
Naruto.
no.
It's technically not the Boruto manga at all. It's a Naruto thing.
Yeah.
That's a bunch of crap.
It's set
That's
in
so-
the
that's
Boruto
such
timeline,
crap.
obviously, but that's how it's just released. And
No,
it
I
came out
know.
immediately after Naruto Part 1 as well. So I think that just
I know. It's for me like when I hear that, it just cements that Kakashi's like completely exiled from the manga. Oh
He's still got
god,
the
that's-
Mirai
No,
manga.
no, it's so bad. He's not even shown during the Momoshiki arc watching the Chunin exam. It didn't
That's
even
such
draw him
crap.
What
once.
about the Mirai
It just
arc?
doesn't exist in the manga.
The
It's
Mirai
horrible.
arc.
That's why I am actually kind of confused the people who say, I guess because Kishimoto is like cemented that he will return. I'm like, how is he gonna return? Like how are you just gonna I mean, you gotta do it in a big way. Like I'm just saying you gotta make his intro in the manga in a big way if you're gonna do something like that. So like I'm just
Yeah, I don't know.
I still
No,
say
that's
what he was referring to
I
as the
think they
anime
just dropped
there.
it.
I still think he was
I
referring to the
seriously hope
anime
they
there.
didn't drop that.
I hope so too, but my faith is gone at this point because they said like the big Kakashi moment's coming soon, like 7 years ago. Like, what timeline are we working with here?
I know. That's why I'm like,
Well,
don't give me
Kamui-
I'll change subject because I don't want to start
Yeah.
getting depressed
Okay.
now.
No,
Okay.
this sort of transitions into what you were talking about, Kamui. I want to say this first. Is that also sort of going off of what Lightning Snow was saying? The era that they're in is considered the era of peace, or it was. I think that's whereas it's like technically omniscient narrator states it or whatever. I think it's also up to interpretation because like in the tuning exams, Shikamaru, sorry, no, not Shikamaru, Orochimaru was like, this shinobi world has been at peace for far too long. In the tuning exam. Like, what are you talking about? No, it hasn't. So I think it's up to the individual to think it is. For Boruto, it is because, like, naive innocence, he's never been in conflict. But for people like Onoki, who are losing their children people, whatever it was to him, I forget, and like the Rain Village, who are clearly not at peace, and then the novels, which have like 3 different instances of the 5th Great Shinobi World War almost starting. Like, there's not peace
I
at
think
all.
not to nitpick. I think this might have come from y'all don't judge me, but I grew up listening to dub, so I kind of am taking dub's translation. Not to nitpick. I'm just kind of trying to remember how it. I think Orochimaru says this country of ours has been at peace for far too long.
Yeah. He says this country of ours has been at peace for far, far too long. I watched it in the dub too.
So I don't think he
mean,
meant the world as a whole. I think he meant like the Leaf Village or in the Land of Fire specifically, because I guess since the Third Great Ninja War, it hasn't really seen a climactic conflict, unless you want to count like I don't know the Uchiha
Wait,
clan.
that was also a while ago. Like the Third Great Ninja War ends before Minato becomes Hokage, and then Minato dies with the Nine Tails incident, and then this is 12 years later. As far as Orochimaru is concerned, I guess you could say the Uchiha massacre. Okay, so it's probably been at least 6 years since anything happened.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think the rest of the world even knew about the Uchiha massacre. It was sort of covered up because, like, the rest of the world would take advantage of it.
Orochimaru knew, though. Orochimaru knew. So, from Orochimaru's perspective,
No,
the rest of the world didn't know.
Zabuza name dropped that the massacre during the Land of Waves arc. He's like, oh yeah, I heard like one young ninja survived the tragedy of the Uchiha clan.
That's fair, but like,
So, like,
when did they find out and like how? Like, is that just a thing the whole world just has knowledge of? Because like the whole point was Hiruzen
Seemingly.
the Hiruzen was like trying to cover it up because if the world found out, they were going to attack Konoha.
That's true. I
Well,
agree.
no. The world attacking Konoha was if the Uchiha clan and the Leaf Village destroyed each other to the point that they
That
could
as
all
well.
be invaded.
Yeah,
Not
that
just
as well.
that the Uchiha clan was massacred.
I get what he's saying though. He's like, if they had heard that the Uchiha clan were still wiped out, then their military strength would be significantly lower than what it
Exactly.
is. So it's like, okay, maybe this is a good chance to capitalize on it.
Stated
I
enough.
mean, it might
Yeah,
just
but here's
been
the thing.
years later that everyone found out,
Yeah.
though.
Oh god, this was not the transition I hoped it would be. Kamui, you want to jump to your Minato manga thing or whatever?
Okay, yeah. So, speaking of Minato losing a bell, Dygo. Okay, we'll all give our take on this after. But Dygo had a message I thought was intriguing. Kishimoto is not writing Boruto, guys. Just compare the Minato one shot with any Boruto manga he supposedly quote wrote. Thoughts?
Mr. Lightning Snow?
He cut out for a second. I didn't hear what the last thing he said.
Oh. I'll read it again. Kishimoto is not writing. This is Dygo Night. Kishimoto is not writing Boruto, guys. Just compare the Minato one shot with any Boruto manga he supposedly quote wrote. Thoughts?
Thoughts?
I mean, thoughts on if whether or not I think he wrote it or not, or
disagree?
Agree.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really think on it too much because I was reading the manga and just that's it. I don't really. I mean, I assume he writes it. I don't really know. I don't think it's any much different than him writing the novels. Everyone has their opinions on who wrote the novels, but I will go. I think at the very least, as far as the one shot, if he didn't write it, I'm gonna assume he gave the okay that it's canon. So I mean,
Kishimoto just objectively
I think Daigo's saying the opposite. Dygo thinks that Kishimoto wrote the one shot, but not Boruto.
Yeah. Which I think is fair.
I could agree. I could agree with that. Just from what we've seen, I think there is a clear, not a clear difference. I guess there is some elements that I could see that Kishimoto is still involved, but it just might be one of those things where he's just kind of overseeing it. It's like it's like a lot of the Final Fantasy games from 10 up or something like that, where the original creator is not really involved in the directive storytelling anymore. He's just kind of overseeing where the plot's going and if he agrees with it or not. And so that might be what Kishimoto's in with the Boruto, because I think that I can agree if someone would tell me that he's not actually actively writing Boruto right now, I could see it. I could agree with it. I feel like he's still kind of putting in his 2 cents as an author for the majority. Yeah, I feel weird if I said he wasn't, but to answer your question, I could see that he wrote the one shot manga, but I could definitely believe that he's not writing Boruto currently.
Yeah, I think
I have a bunch I want to say this, but I want to hear what Oodie says first.
It depends on the level of involvement, which we will never know. For example, I think the Kaguya filler arc is the easiest way to make this comparison. We don't know what Kishimoto was asked for, how he was involved, of how he's quote-unquote making it canon or passing it off to be canon or whatever, approving it. It could be...
Same with the Ishiki flashback arc.
Yeah, it could just be that, the studio came to him and is like, hey, is it okay if the chakra fruit that Akagi eats at this moment in the episode, is it okay if it's flashing white? It could be that level of involvement, or it could just be like, hey, Kishimoto, can we make an arc about Kaguya's backstory? And then that's the only involvement he has. He's like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead, do whatever you want. He approved it. He passed off on it. It's confirmed from him. So depends what level.
Maybe it's the same case. Maybe it's the same case. Hey, is it okay if we have Kakashi just have a DMS for a second, for just a few minutes? I'm like, that sounds pretty good. We'll go for it.
So we have.
On that note, I really hope, because
this is very off topic to the current thing, but I did want to come back to the Minato manga versus Boruto. So, honestly speaking, there are definitely elements of a Kishimoto feel in Boruto since Kishimoto supposedly took back over. But I have to agree with Dygo that the Minato manga, story-wise, just feels different from Boruto. It just does not feel the same. It doesn't feel like it's like so. Kishimoto was always the supervisor, even when Kodachi was writing. So he was always checking things. There's always some level of involvement. The question is, okay, well, is there more involvement now? Probably yes, but Kishimoto, like, you see straight up, it's just, like, even if you just look at the freaking way that they say author on the freaking Viz panels, the Viz chapter covers, and the one-shot manga, it's like written by Kishimoto, whereas in the Boruto manga, it just says supervisor Kishimoto, the same way it always did. They just took out the part that says script Ukyo Kodachi. So it is kind of suspicious that they do that instead of saying script Kishimoto. Like, why wouldn't they do that? So I don't.
Yeah,
but some stuff just feels like he's not right.
I feel like you really want to hammer that point home tonight, huh, Kamui?
Yeah, I agree with that.
Something I will say, going back to like the comparison between Naruto to Boruto and then Boruto to Two Blue Vortex, between Naruto and Boruto, and this is a bigger feat, a bigger accomplishment because of the fact that more time passed, it just feels like there was a world that was actually lived in. The world itself feels fleshed out to where it's a natural continuation, again, going back to the word continuation, from part one, even if it's been so many years in the future. It's so similar yet different. It's a completely new story, but it's those similarities that make it to where it's in the same universe, same franchise. It feels the same. This is a continuation of Naruto in an essence. This is like technically, if you want to say, one of Naruto's last story arcs. So you don't have to watch for Boruto, even if the story's around Boruto, because the story's also about Naruto. This is a continuation of the Naruto story, not only in terms of the story, but also in terms of Naruto's character. Comparing that to like Two Blue Vortex, the world, it doesn't feel like there was story in between. Compared to like part one to Boruto, even if it's off screen and they never explain it, to where it's how they got to the world to where it currently is now. It feels like there was just a 3-year gap where just nothing happened and they're never going to go back to explain it. And it was just an arbitrary amount of time and it just was random and they're just throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. Compared to part one, it's like the story. So writing is art. And art, we were talking about it in the Discord the other day. Kamui's definition of art in the most simple terms was it's something that makes you care. And so Boruto...
So that's a protagonist.
Sure.
But that's what we were talking about.
It's about writing.
I agree with
the point of writing
thing,
is it should makes you care. Like on a storytelling perspective, even from like a psychoanalysis perspective, psychology, it's stories, you can write empathy. There are literal empathetic definitions, terminology that you can include, specific aspects you can do that Two Blue Vortex just doesn't do. They just tell you things without having you care about them first. I think that's the problem. Minato manga doesn't.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Happen, but you're left wondering why, not why from a plot perspective, but from a story perspective, like why? Like, why should I care? Why did that happen?
Yeah, but it's not about why did it happen, it's why should I care. Well, it is both. But like, if you ask why should I care, the author has failed. Because you should already know. You should already have a reason to care.
That's a fair point, because I mean obviously I care about the characters and what's going to happen to them, but at the same time it's like, you know, it's funny because I hate saying this, but I'm not as invested as I am with any of the characters that are on screen as opposed to the characters that I'm not seeing. And I think that might be where it gets it at, is because...
Do you have any examples, like, besides Kakashi, the obvious one, and I guess Sakura?
Yeah, but well, yeah. Yeah. As I'm saying, like, I mean, heck, you know, I don't know the whole Naruto plot, the Hinata plot, Sasuke plot, Kakashi. I mean, Kakashi's, I'm always wondering where the heck he's gonna pop in at, but like, like it just, I mean, and that's the idea is like, heck, as much as I hate saying this, man, like I'm not even as invested in Shikamaru as I used to be, you know, and that's not even in Boruto.
Shikamaru's freaking Shikadeer now. He's a new character who's stupid. That's
They
why.
just
Yeah,
ruined him.
someone even. Oh God, someone even freaking said that he's getting to the freaking level of like butthole-ishness as Donzo. I'm like, I don't know if I go that far,
He even
but
said
I can
that
see
for
where they're coming
years.
from.
Yeah.
Ever since Kawaki first arrived.
Like I would. Yeah, it's like I wouldn't go that far, but my point is like, yeah, like you said, why should I, if I have to ask myself why should I care about what's going on with these characters, then that's not, you know, and don't get me wrong, I don't want them to die, but at the same time, it's like I'm not as invested as I would be with Naruto, Sasuke, Hinata, Sakura, Kakashi, or anybody else. So it's like, you know, why should I care about this character just, you know, aside from the fact that he's, you know, the last protagonist's son, I guess. So that kind of might be like my general attitude towards the Boruto era in as a whole. You know, I spent so much time. The one thing I'll leave off on, because I got to go here in a second. The other, because I think I may have mentioned that there was a couple reasons why I didn't pick up Boruto initially, and the second reason, and it might be a little bigger reason than the petty Kakashi's not in it anymore, is the fact that like I grew up and you know, I was led to believe that Naruto was this, you know, child of prophecy, that he's the savior of the world, and that now comes his son who apparently is supposed to be, and I was on board with it honestly up until that whole Momoshiki like pretty much kind of just laying the foundation of a prophecy to Boruto, like, oh, like people who kill gods aren't meant to lead a normal life or something like that, like, and pretty much just setting up Boruto as the new like child of prophecy in a way. And I know it wasn't verbatim like he said that, but it's just the way it's being told to me, and I'm like, okay, so
it was Tonari. You gave him a promise, he was gonna save the world.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a total slap in the face of Naruto's saving the world at the end, you know, kind of. I know I know the whole world wasn't at peace like fully, but I mean, like, to me, I feel like we got it to where like enough, you know, all the five great nations were, you know, at least 90%, if not 95% at peace. So it's like, my point is like, I just feel like a rehash of like the Child of Prophecy. It's like, okay, what was the whole point of Naruto being the hero if Boruto's the one that's actually supposed to, you know, at least is what it presented to me, is the one that's supposed to save the day, I guess. So I don't know. It might seem like nitpicky to like not pick up a series or whatever, but if I had to give a you know, more in-depth reason of why I didn't pick up Boruto initially, that's probably why.
Yeah, a few things before you go. I know both me and Kamui had a couple more things, just really quick. Continuing off of what you were saying, just really quick on that. Anyways, that's that. Now, Kamui, I know we had a question for our guest here.
Yeah, so this is, you know, to be completely honest, probably the most important question that we could ever ask.
We've been waiting this for a while. In fact, this is arguably the reason that you're here.
Yeah, so I just want you to take a deep breath.
Yeah, sit down if you aren't already.
Yeah.
So whenever you're prepared, just let us know and we'll ask.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, he's ready. Go ahead, Kamui.
There's Chirpy.
Yeah, where is he?
I have no freaking clue. Your guess is as good as freaking mine, because I have been trying to get a hold of him. Well, I tried to a couple months ago, and he did send a message to me. It'd take me too long to go look through the messages right now if I were to go back home. He responded with something. I think it was like he was like crazy busy, and then I didn't hear back from him, so I have no clue.
Yeah, that's fine. But like, where is he?
Neither do we.
like, where is he based out of?
No, just like, you know, like what's
just where is he?
Yeah, where is he?
I have no. That's what I'm saying. Like, I have no clue. I haven't talked to him in forever, so I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like that's the last time I talked to him, and I was like, a month or two ago, if not longer.
Well, if you had to guess,
I have
pretty much the same for
where
us.
do you think he is?
Yeah, like we'll give you a few hypothetical options. At work, at the drugstore, playing Steam games,
at a restaurant,
lunch with his dad,
tripping.
Do y'all know? Because I feel like y'all are asking me. It's like a choose. I thought it was like a choose adventure kind of game. Like I don't know.
No, we're all in the same boat.
We're just giving you the.
Yeah, we're all in this together. We're just trying to figure it out.
Our guesses.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go on a limb and say either like he's either working or he's playing games. I don't know, or both. I guess I don't.
Okay, well, about 10% of people agree with you. 69% think he's tripping, 2% thinks he's sleeping, 12% say he's fishing, and then 7% say he's eating. So yeah, that's about that. So thank you for your assumption of where Trippy is. We'll be sure to tally the polls and get back to you once we come up with a definitive answer. And hopefully we hear an update from Trippy soon. And the final thing...
Hopefully, because...
Yeah, you go ahead.
I'm hoping so, because I did a couple of videos with him in the past, and he was a pretty cool dude to have just have a conversation with. So
yeah, it's funny you say that.
So too.
Yeah, we agree. To say less, yeah, we agree. Yeah, there is something that we haven't done yet. So we didn't do an intro. Hey, Lightning, so can you give our intro for us before you go? The Walky Talky podcast intro. Just really quick.
I'm welcome to the Walky Talky podcast. This is Lightning Snow here with Oodie and Kamui.
And what are we going to talk about today?
What are we going to talk about?
Yeah, you got to do an intro. Come on now, you got to get into it. Excited.
Yeah, well, I haven't done a podcast in like forever, so
this is
been
welcoming people to the stream.
Yeah,
they need to know what you're going to talk about.
They can be prepared. Level their expectations. Measure how the time's going to go.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a pass on that. Y'all kind of just threw a curveball at me for a second, so I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I'll take a pass on that.
That's fine. You can opt out of that as long as you do the outro really quick.
Okay. Well, thank y'all for having me on the Walky Talky podcast. It was actually a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
We had a lot of fun talking about Boruto, Kakashi, Sakura, and just hopefully where the story of Boruto is going to go. Hopefully they don't give us some stupid contrivances that make me scratch my head even more than I already am with the story. But we all got our fingers crossed for the future. So thank y'all for having me on to discuss this, and it was a great time.
Awesome. And do you have like a YouTube channel or somewhere that people can send you or something?
Just Lightning Snow, capital L, capital S. You should be able to find me. If you want to leave a link in the description or whatever, you can. But if you are looking it up, just type in Lightning Snow Naruto. You should find out. You should see my channel pop up. So
absolutely. Is there any video on your channel that you're like most proud of? Anywhere that you'd want to send them in particular?
The Kakashi versus the Akatsuki video that I did with Sage is a really, really, really good one. Either that or the Itachi versus Obito one I did with Dygo. Those are really two of the more popular ones on my channel.
Okay. You got
or the one with the TG with the Himawari and.
Oh yeah, that.
Say again.
The Kimimaro one's really good. We love Kimimaro, by the way, but let's not derail to that. Any thumbnails in particular that you think are good, regardless of the video? Just out of curiosity. You're like, man, I'm proud of that thumbnail in particular.
Honestly, the Kimimaro one, because I was actually very hesitant on like making that one. Because I thought, me personally, I felt like because like I know a lot of people like Kimimaro, but at the same time, I thought that he might not be as popular as a character as I thought. But it was a really simple like thumbnail. Like I put it together probably within 10-15 minutes, and it actually turned out to be really well. So probably most proud of that one. Either that one or the Kakashi versus the Akatsuki thumbnail. That one was actually pretty solid. I had a lot of people come to me. It's like, okay, that thumbnail was clickbait 100%, and it worked flawlessly. So I was like, either one of those two.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, you'll be pleased to know that Kimimaro is probably the most underrated character in the entire Naruto series. He is my favorite character of all time, not just in Naruto, but of all time. He's a lot of other characters' favorite character in all of Naruto.
He's one of my favorites too.
Yeah, like there's Reddits to where there's like hundreds of comments saying
he's yet to meet a person on this podcast say that they hate Kimimaro.
No, I mean I'm not even indifferent. I like Kimimaro. I just don't think about him as much, honestly, because he's barely in the series. Unfortunately, like I will say he had the potential to be like a lasting villain, or at least a lasting character, not really a villain. Because I mean, if you get down to it, Kimimaro wasn't really a villain. I guess he didn't come across as a vile like person. I guess is the better way to say it. So, like. I definitely do think he could. I definitely do think he could have been used a lot more. But you know,
I got a 3 hour.
Writing is the writing is the writing. That's why me and TG tried to do him justice on that Akatsuki video that we'd had him in. You know, I definitely think he's slept on, but yeah.
All right. Well, that's Lightning Snow, everyone. Thanks for coming on, and maybe we can do this again sometime. I'll put your link in the comment section and all of that, and I already got you in the description, but yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, thank y'all for having me on here. It was a great time, and look forward to doing it again.
For sure. Appreciate it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, all right. So Kamui.
So I'm gonna be up for a while. So if you want to keep going, that's fine with me.
Oh yeah, I was planning on it because like those Himawari genetics conversation I was mentioning as a very first topic, we just never got to them at all. By the way, like at all. So. Immortal, if you want to come on now, or if Dygo, if you want to come on now, this is like your good chance. I guess Kamui, if you want to read comments, I'll go to the bathroom really quick and we can continue stream part 2, I guess.
Oh, wait, hold on, I'm reheating food. Wait, don't go yet. Don't go yet.
Okay.
Like, come back downstairs.
Well, in that case, Darshikage says, even better. Alright. Here, Immortal, I'll just go ahead and get you invited, see if you want to speak. Hey, what's up, Immortal? How you doing? What'd you think?
Hey, what's good? Oh, okay. I'm just gonna be flat out honest with you. I was trying to work with my dog. Throughout, like
with your dog. So you brought your dog to work. Like, so what do you do for work?
No. No, I don't bring my dog to work. No.
I was working with your dog though. So what do you do for work?
No. What I mean was, I was trying to So he's a puppy. He's a 3-month-old puppy, and I'm trying to get him to go to sleep because right now it's time for him to go to sleep.
Oh, so you sleep for work? Okay.
How much do you get paid to sleep with your dog?
No,
that's crazy. It's the occupation called puppy.
No. So I think I missed half of Lightning Snow's conversation because I was trying to work with my puppy Milo and trying to get him to go to sleep because right now it's his bedtime.
So which half did you hear?
I like that name, Milo. I think of the movie The Mask with Jim Carrey because the dog's name is Milo in that movie. First thing I think of.
Wait, say that again.
Say which part again? Well, I guess you don't know.
I completely missed what Kamui said in that last part.
Oh, about the dog? The movie?
Yeah, the movie part.
Kamui, am I allowed to go to the bathroom now?
Yeah, go ahead. Go,
okay.
go,
no, you're not allowed to do that ever. No, there's a movie called The Mask with Jim Carrey, and he has a dog named Milo. So that's the first thing I thought of. It used to be one of my favorite movies growing up. I watched it like 10,000 times. Remember that our DVD was scratched with this one part of the movie that always got messed up, and we just couldn't like watch that part.
I'm not gonna lie, I missed the era of just DVD players.
You missed it, or you miss it? Like you wish it was back.
I wish it was back.
I mean,
it's still
it's
around.
Not gone for good.
It's not.
You
really
guys seen Dune? Dune?
I haven't seen it yet.
I actually haven't seen it yet either.
Oh, come on. It was like the only good movie that came out this year so far.
I know I missed it.
I heard
I
it's
only go to the theaters with people, so people aren't available. Then I just missed the movie.
Wow. You need people to go to the movies with you?
I don't want to go by myself. I'll fall
that's
asleep
joy
if
watching
I do that.
movies.
Wait, I literally will fall asleep if I do that. If I watch it by myself.
Are you one of those people that like to talk during the movie in the movie theater?
No. Well, sometimes yes, depends on context. But even then, I just stay awake better. like if I watch a movie by myself at my house, I tend to either get distracted like every 30 seconds, or I like get tired or something. But like if someone's there, I can like ironically, even while goofing off, stay focused better.
It's that TikTok attention span.
Like wait, is that I'm not diagnosed, but I probably have ADHD. Everyone I work with is convinced I have it. If that says anything. But anyway,
But anyway,
what were we talking about?
Himawari's genetics.
What were you
All right.
So, Kamui, how heated on
What
a
about
scale of
them?
1 to 10 are you prepared to be tonight? Just before we get into it.
I don't want to get heated. I can help it.
Okay, well, I guess before we get into it,
And also I also think that the Ninetales jumping to Himawari is just really out of nowhere. If the Ninetales was to return, like how I would do it, if the Ninetales had to return in Boruto and I was in charge, I would make the Ninetales return as a tail beast that's not a fox, like a completely different monster with a completely different, like, appearance and all that, different personality, just to make things more interesting. But it's just the baby Ninetales now. Ooh, okay.
if I brought the Ninetales back,
honestly,
it definitely wouldn't have been now. But go ahead, Colin.
That's what I was gonna say. So,
I mean, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
And my problem is, though, while I can understand maybe what they're gonna go for, regardless if you think it makes sense, I don't like it. It's gonna sound funny to you, Oodie. I don't like that because whether they did it immediately or they waited on it, it never feels like a good time for Kurama to just appear in Himawari. There's no.
What do you guys think the end goal is? Like, what's the end goal of Kurama reappearing in Himawari? What they want to achieve in the story with that? I can't fathom like
to make Himawari a target for Jura. That's the end goal, actually.
That's it, and that's it. I mean, that's it.
I mean, it never feels like a good time. I feel like if they were gonna bring Kurama back, they just would have taken a completely different route for doing so, probably independent of Himawari. He could end up in Himawari as like an end of like series, like, or if Naruto died, or if Naruto's getting old, like, hey, I'm gonna hop in your daughter. She seems pretty cool. That's fine. I don't care. But I wouldn't have brought it back through Himawari.
Kamui, I disagree.
I just don't think I like it, and it just never feels like a good time for it. I think if I had to pick one thing that's driven me the most nuts about Tulu, it's this stupid recap.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Boruto manga could have been 50 chapters long so far if they were actually concise with their explanations and stuff.
Yeah, we can just like delete chapter 67 entirely.
I don't know which chapter that is. But...
That's the chapter when Momoshiki explains to Boruto that I converted 18% of my data back into yours, so you're 82% Momoshiki, 18% Boruto, but you're 100% Sasuke, by the way, even though you're 18% Boruto, 100% Sasuke. It's that chapter.
Right.
Yeah, the one that doesn't make sense.
Oh, Kamui, I was watching your video, your latest video. There was something I had a contention with, but I completely forgot it, but it was related to this. It's about Walky being 100% Otsutsuki and it not making sense. And I agreed it didn't make sense, but in a way that you didn't. I forgot what it was though.
Oh, well, like it was like I was explaining basically the point there was that in Boruto's case, because it's his own data, it just extracts the karma to 100%.
Right.
Because the karma is extracted, according to Momoshiki, that means you're 100% Sasuke. So I said the same could apply to Kawaki if it's considered his own data.
There's a lot of different routes I can go with this.
And I said it doesn't make any sense, but it didn't make sense the first time either.
There's a lot of routes I can go with this. If it's Kawaki's data and it extracts immediately, then it would just be 100% extracted. Why wouldn't it just automatically revive Kawaki as Kawaki in that case?
Because he would have to ignite that.
Isn't it an automatic thing though? Is what we were talking about last time?
No. Because, for example, Ishiki didn't auto-revive in Jigen when Jigen's karma was 100% extracted.
Okay, you're right. Really, I was right 2 streams ago, but whatever.
But you weren't.
You remember what we talked about 2 streams ago?
Completely proved you wrong on that stream. But yeah, so in this case, you know, I mean, it's just that it was a hypothetical. But either way, yeah, I don't think the concept makes any sense. Because in either case, it's like, okay, but 20% of them is still the original human, Boruto or Kawaki. I don't care if the karma is extracted. It's not 100% of Sasuke data. It's so stupid.
I have to rewatch the video to see exactly what my
But anyway.
Exactly that. Okay, so back to Himawari, I guess.
But it's a little something.
But Immortal,
give us an idea.
Even if you want to say that's the reason, here, we'll make a chat. We'll make a community poll to see who's right. Since you clearly aren't listening to reason.
Oodie, you literally disagree with, like, science.
Says the unitologist.
Oh, we're going... Yes, please. Oh, wait. Kamui, do you even play Dead Space?
No, he doesn't.
Huh?
Do you even play Dead Space?
How do
I've never played Dead Space.
Oh, man.
I accidentally clicked add option and now, okay, well, you know what? There's going to be 3 options, or Oodie again. There.
I still am hoping that
Sounds
I
fair.
somehow still win.
People are voting for me and I haven't even voted yet. Suck it, Kamui. I'm gonna vote.
Who the hell voted for you?
I'm gonna vote.
Who voted for you? I'm sorry, you're stupid.
Damn.
Wow, I can't believe Kamui would say such about our loyalty.
Just remember, just remember, chat.
Wrong.
Just remember, chat. Kamui's calling you stupid if you vote for Oodie.
Yeah, do you really want to vote for someone like that? Like, think
wrong,
about
bro.
the empathy of the psychology, guys. Like, Kamui is just getting on your lizard brain.
No, just don't be stupid. And like, problem solved. I hate to say it.
Can stupidity truly go away? Like, is it something that can easily be cured?
Well, yeah, it's in Kamui's genetics, so as long as Kamui goes away.
Yes, unless your name is Oodie.
Oh man.
It is permanent. There's nothing you can do about it.
Okay, we're moving on.
Okay, anyway, moving past this.
Okay. Yeah, moving on.
I'm gonna make some food.
Okay.
Again.
So back to Himawari's genetics. Actually, okay, here we'll deviate from that for a little bit. We'll come back to that.
I'm about to head out and get some rest for tonight. You guys have a lovely time on the Walky Talky.
You mean you're gonna do your job?
Yeah, pretty much.
Liam.
Yeah.
Straight to sleep. Man, Immortal, where did you get hired by this company?
I got hired looking through an ad. I don't know. I just went to.
Yeah, if you could like send me an application, I'd be down for the job.
Gotcha. You get paid $20 an hour. I was playing.
Definitely gonna pick that up as a side hustle.
Daigo, I hate the
But
fact
anyways,
that we're talking about freaking Boruto, a back and forth heated debate between me and Kamui. What, Daigo, what do you want to talk about tonight?
I don't know. Anything.
Well, did you have more to say on any from the lightning snow conversation? I'm sure you disagree with a lot of it.
I mean, I noticed that you agreed with me on the fact that Kishimoto is obviously not writing the Boruto manga. He's
That was me.
at
yeah.
most giving some bullet points.
And I do think
and
he's
at
probably
least
doing more than he was with Kodachi. But like that Minato manga felt different, bro. I'm with you on that. Like,
yeah. If you read the Minato manga, it's 10 pages longer than a regular Boruto manga, but it feels like 10 times more things happen.
you literally
in one chapter, of the one shot than in the Boruto chapter. And also, it just feels more exciting. It feels more energetic. The way he delivers the information, it's concise, and it's also interesting because he overlays explanations and other text that would be, just like thought bubbles in the Boruto manga with more interesting scenes. And then, like the final 2-page spread is like proof that obviously Kishimoto is not very much involved with Boruto. Like, there's nothing in the Boruto manga that comes like 1% close to that final 2-page spread with Minato's face next to the 3 first Hokage, like where his face will eventually be in the mountain. There's nothing in the Boruto manga that's like that. Nothing at all.
I feel like Oodie will like the way I phrased this. I feel like the Minato manga was a story, but Two Blue Vortex is just events happening.
Yeah,
like
I
it
feel
doesn't
that.
feel like
I
a
think
story.
that's a good way to put it.
The Minato manga felt like there was a story being told versus an event that happened. It wasn't like the event is just freaking Kushina left the barrier, Kurama came out, and Minato learned the Rasengan. That's the event. But there's so much more story going on there. Whereas Boruto, there's 900 events, and I'm left wondering what the story is.
It's like the hype of the Minato manga isn't the point of it. Like, yeah, like Minato versus Kurama with Kushina going crazy is a cool event, but that's not what it's focused on. That's just happening in the background while the story takes the forefront. The complete opposite.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the story is really just about their relationship and bond.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also argue, there are some fan servicey things like the 4 and the 5 tails showing up in the first, 2-page spread there. Oh, that's like something to really catch your eye, when you just glance at it. But there's a story, and there are interesting things happening.
Yeah, like there's a point of it.
Yeah,
it's not for like a world building of so the event can happen in the war. It's to give Minato the motivation for this chapter in particular, for this story.
And I mean, there's so many little things that are interesting in this chapter. A lot of people say, "Oh, we didn't learn anything new about the lore and whatnot." Only like everything that happened in that chapter, you could have kind of inferred that it was like that. There were no like big plot twists, or revelations, or anything like that. Oh, okay, so Minato learned the Rasengan like they told us how he did it in Naruto Shippuden, but we kind of knew how he did it from like observing the Tail Beast Bomb. But the story that Kishimoto told when we see this happening was interesting. And when you go to Boruto, it's just like, oh, okay, so now Boruto has a flying Raiden, he has purple lightning, he has a planetary Rasengan, he has Momoshiki and Karma, he can absorb ninjutsu, he can, I don't know what else, he can fly! And there's no rhyme or reason for it. It's just, there.
Kamui, did you not have anything to say in that? Or? Yeah, I guess not. All right. Is Kamui talking for you, Dygo? Or no?
I think Kamui's dead.
Oh, well.
No, he's not. It was silent.
I didn't realize he was that sleepy. Man, he must have got hired for Immortal's job.
I thought... Didn't he go to, like, make food? Or something?
Yeah, but
he was
going
to do
that.
Well, I'm confused. Can you hear me or not?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Now we can.
Oh, okay. I don't know what happened. Oh, the whole time I thought you were hearing. Shit, I don't even remember what I said anymore.
You're talking about
I think people are
meatballs.
too focused on something.
Sorry, go ahead.
What? No. Focused on like something being different and new than they are it being a good story. Like, oh, it's just because we knew the information. If it's like for Minato manga, we knew what happened and generally how, but there was a story to be told and it was a good story. Just in the time skip comparison or the comparisons we make to like Naruto, just because it feels similar doesn't make it not a good story. Just because it's different doesn't mean it is a good story. Just like, it's not how that works. I don't know. People are too focused on it being different.
What's kind of pissing me off too is that they're trying to make Boruto look cool so hard. Like the last chapter, it was the last chapter, right? Where he dodges the rods from Kawaki, right?
Twice.
And then it has that pose where he's like serious and just casually dodging it. He has to look really cool. It just feels forced.
Yeah. No, I hated that fight. It was so dumb. Kamui, you're gonna love this segue. The people that care about those like hype moments are the same people that are focused on the wrong thing. They're the people that watch Naruto from Instagram Reels. So Dygo,
that's all. That's half the Boruto fans.
So Dygo, there's a thing really quick. I was curious about what your thoughts are on this picture. I'll just put it in chat really quick. So
okay.
So what do you think about this?
Where is it at?
It's in chat.
It's in the Discord chat.
Like in
the
the
chat.
Conversation chat?
No,
regular Walky Talky Discord chat.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. My Discord's glitchy. It's really slow for some reason. I'm gonna take a while for it to open it. Can you describe it for me? Actually, let me open on my phone because my computer is,
I could just DM it to you if that helps.
Slow. No, it's the app.
Okay.
It doesn't really. Oh, Pain and Itachi.
So what does it say?
Wait, what?
Yeah, so what do you think about that?
Pain is the only Uchiha who never activated his Susanoo. What do you mean?
Right?
He's not an Uchiha.
I found this on Facebook and I was like, what?
This is like the
comments are
opinions
pretty
of
funny.
people who watch Naruto. through Instagram
Ironically,
Reels.
so many comments were agreeing with the post, and then there was
This
a
is
few like
this is a serious thing. I
Mad.
thought it was.
Yeah, I found it. I just found that like on Facebook, it just showed up, and I was like reading the comments, and there's like 25 to 30% of people were like actually just like arguing for it. Like when some people would comment, they're like, "Bro, what? He's not an Uchiha." And then you have some people arguing that they're wrong. They're like, "Bro, you didn't watch Naruto." And it was so funny seeing how many people defended it. It's like, what?
These are the same people.
I mean, I don't know how many people like exclusively consume Naruto from Reels, but I think there's a lot of people who's like they've watched Naruto once and they remember like the most important scenes and poorly at that, and they just comment and say, "Oh, that happened."
These are the
Trust
same
me,
people
bro.
that read the Minato manga for the 4 and 5 tell scene and for the Minato versus Kurama scene. Just that.
Yeah.
That's
Did you know
Maybe it's
Minato
just
was
me,
stronger
but,
than
like,
Hashirama?
Some of the stuff I've like watched Boruto once, and yet I remember this shit like perfectly good. So I don't think that's a good excuse.
And yet you
But
can't
you've
remember genetics
like you
for life
do
of you.
research on it. But like Naruto ended in like 2016 or 2017. The anime that is.
Has been a
So
while.
like maybe there's a lot of people who watched it once when it was coming out. Especially people who say, "Oh, the work is terrible because the powers they're too big on scale and they're not stealthy anymore." Even though Naruto was using a giant toe to fight a giant Sasuke in the second arc of the series, and then people say things like that.
So I got another one for you, Daigo. So when I read this title / thumbnail, I was just stunned. Like I just couldn't read. Like I just stopped halfway through because I didn't realize what I was reading. I like had to reread it. Like I was just floored. I didn't know what to think. So, Kamui, Daigo, go ahead and read this for me.
Wait, hold on. I have bacon, raw bacon on
I
my
can tell from
hand.
Dygo's
and I'm not
reaction.
What
Yeah,
kidding.
if
same
what
reaction.
if Naruto had adamantium bones?
It sounds
That
so
sounds
wrong.
cool.
Yeah, so guys, I was hoping,
I wanna
without
see
watching
the
this
thumbnail.
2-hour video, if we could just, like, come with our own theory, hypothetical, what would happen in this? Like, how would it change if Naruto had adamantium bones? And so,
Um. One thing that would change is that Sasuke wouldn't be able to pierce him with his Chidori in the Valley of the End because his ribcage would tank the Chidori
it might even
vein of
absorb it. It might gain
adamantium.
the chakra.
Well, I'm thinking that the
Yeah.
adamantium chains would have like sealing properties, so like it would just seal the jutsu.
Yeah. Like, I don't think at any point
Like instead of ash bones, it would just seal.
in the work, Hinata would never have to fix his dislocated shoulder because it never would have dislocated.
Oh yeah,
Bones would have stayed in place. You get
he would be
Naruto-
heavy though. Maybe there would be a problem when. I mean, I guess Kabuto wouldn't have a problem like hoisting him up because the Kabuto is way massive, but he'll be much heavier
That's true, yeah.
than a regular person.
I don't know if Neji would be able to hit his chakra points, or at least not all of them, which means we might continue the base Naruto versus Neji
No,
fight.
I think he would because the chakra points are on the skin, so they would be beyond the bones
On
themselves.
the skin.
I don't think that would be a problem.
Are they not inside, like, past the bones?
No, they're like
Well, they're not like
points-
on the bones. They're just like it's like similar how like you can touch like your bicep, your muscle. You're not hitting the bone. The muscle's in the way.
Well, yeah, it's like veins,
like,
but
That could just be the
whatever. Maybe, I don't know. Okay. Well then, is there any
I don't
part?
think you have to go through the bone.
Okay, okay. I don't think Jigen would be able to kick Naruto out of his avatar in Boruto.
Does he kick Naruto out too? I thought it was
Yeah.
Sasuke.
It's more like an
he
uppercut.
kicks them like up.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a anime only? See?
No, it's in the manga. He like I think
I
it's-
don't remember.
Actually, don't know. I don't remember.
Just
But
goes, like, straight through the head.
I think it's in both.
Let's see, what else would happen? Would Pain be able to impel Naruto with the rods?
Just hits the bones.
Probably not.
I was thinking like Haku's needles just don't hit Naruto. Okay.
Oh my god. I got a crazy one. Kamui, you're gonna love this. Kimimaro would relate to Naruto having different bones. That would change the story. Like, maybe the bones
He'd be
would
like, "Well,
heal
you're just like
Kimimaro.
me."
Kimimaro joins Naruto's team. He's in the story for the rest of the story.
No, Sasuke wakes up with the guy. Kimimaro just brings him back. They put Sasuke back in the coffin to bring him back to the leaf.
Let's see. I'm thinking when Kakazu like pierces Naruto's clone with this weird tentacle things, adamantium chains might come out of the clone, wrap around him. Might seal him then. Would Madara be able to seal the Nine Tails from Naruto's body? Because like the adamantium bones might hold Kurama in place.
I was thinking that they would actually seal the ghetto statue.
Like,
they would pull
chain,
the ghetto statue inside Kurama.
it seals the dragon chain the moment it wraps around him.
They seal all that they touch.
Well, we have Rock Lee on the thumbnail as well. So how would Rock Lee interact with Naruto's adamantium bones?
Well, when they first fought that one time and he did the leaf whirlwind, Rock Lee would kick an adamantium bone and his foot would get sealed inside Naruto. Rock Lee would be crippled before the training.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's enough of this.
Systematic surgery would be regenerating his foot.
Okay. Next, I'm probably just misremembering or being dumb or just having a brain fart. How did the Sound Force sneak into Konoha? So after like Naruto versus Sasuke's
Which
hospital
time?
rooftop fight,
They just appear there.
how did they get past the
don't see.
barrier? The Yamanaka system.
My headcanon is that Orochimaru, being a former Leaf Ninja, gave him like a password.
Yeah,
or
the
something.
same as Itachi. He just knew the code and told them it, I guess.
Yes, but Itachi knew the code because he was in the Anbu. Would you say Orochimaru just knows the code because he's knows all the jutsu or scientist shenanigans, smart?
I mean,
I think that's
Orochimaru
fair to say.
was in part of Danzo Zanbu, at least.
Maybe Itachi told
That's how he-
Kisame, and Kisame told Orochimaru before he left the Akatsuki.
No, Orochimaru was just part of Danzo's, like...
I think Kisame joined
stuff.
the Akatsuki after Orochimaru left, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because Orochimaru was Itachi's first partner, and then Itachi stomps him, cuts his arm off.
Yeah.
Orochimaru leaves because I can't beat this guy, and then Kisame shows up.
Yeah, the first time they meet is when they become partners. So yeah, it would be after defeating Orochimaru in the Akatsuki. Okay.
I don't think they were actually partners. I think Orochimaru literally just approached Itachi.
Maybe
Because he was Sasori's partner at the time.
I like the idea that because Kabuto.
That's true. I
faced
mean,
in
yeah.
the Anbu, maybe Kabuto knew the code from when he was doing the Konoha Crush.
No,
'cause he was in
Oodie.
the Anbu.
Orochimaru was literally part of Danzo's like foundation. That's how he first met Kabuto.
I don't care.
Like Orochimaru
Yeah.
just was part of it. Like, I'm sure he just
Say
knew.
that Kabuto knew. The point is, it's not explained unless I misremember.
Why they not change the code like every once in a while so that the rogue ninjas can't exploit that?
Plot.
Well, because Pierce didn't want to know it,
Okay.
so that he could enter whenever he wanted.
Well,
So you
the
can blame
next
him.
one. Here, I'll just put this quote in chat. So I was arguing in Rain's Discord server because Sauron was being a hater, and I was just getting excited, and so I like unintentionally said this line and thought it was so funny that I wrote it down. I wanted the biggest Boruto infamous hater to give his take on this, so I told Sauron, well, if Boruto came back looking half as good as it did, it'd look as good as ever.
Because 0 divided by 2 is 0.
Hey, that's what Sasuke said. 10 divided by 0, 0. Fighting Naruto Shadow Clones.
So, ironically, that sounds like an insult to Boruto. So, like, if he came back looking half as good, it'd be as good as ever. That's maybe so it would just be bad like usual. Is that what you're?
Well, no, I did mean it as a compliment.
Yeah, because
it just doesn't make any sense.
That looks like an insult, though.
It could be interpreted either way, I suppose.
Because 0 divided by 2 is 0, so that's the only way it could, look the same way if it's half as good now.
It's good as ever.
That'd be more conductive.
Exactly.
Than metal, that's funny. Gonna walk or watch, maybe walk.
That's funny.
Strong fist would be crazy. That would be crazy. So in the anime, I said this before. Itachi talks to Hiruzen and he tells him he'll leave a gap in security so Itachi could check on Sasuke. Yeah, it's not about Itachi, it's about the Sound Four in this case, but anyways.
Yeah, but like again, Orochimaru probably just knew. Because I mean, Orochimaru literally snuck in before too.
I'm not going to count the Sound Ninja because they're literally allowed for the tuning exams.
Yeah, but like, he just snuck in and killed the Grass Ninja and took over them when they were already in the village.
But he's not going in as
true.
Orochimaru, he's going in as a fake person.
But the barrier should like signal
but
that
you would've
somebody with
triggered an alarm.
weird chakras
It's
No, I
trying.
know. It's still weird. But like the point is he's entering
Well, no,
as
I think he just
the Kazekage.
knew how to get in. I mean, Orochimaru also just like went in the sand village.
No.
There's also the chance that Danzo was giving him this information, like, so that Orochimaru could enter the village.
The Sand Village, from my knowledge, doesn't have a detection system. They just have guards stationed around. That's how the Akatsuki got in. But also, Orochimaru never entered the Sand Village. He intercepted Rasa on his way to Konoha
Yeah.
for the tuning zone. So yeah.
Is that where that like little dip in the ground was? Wherever
yeah,
when they found him, he was on the way.
it was on the way. Yeah. So I don't think
I thought it was just like
Orochimaru snuck into
we're in the middle.
Konoha.
That was a.
I think he was
It didn't look like a
disguised as
big
Rasa,
fight. Like it
just
looks like
walking.
he just went down.
Yeah. Was Rasa not traveling with guards or something? I forget. I think he should have been, right?
He was. There were
They were
several
killed,
people
too.
dead there.
So I guess the
There's several
Sound
dead
Horde
there.
cosplayed as them in that case.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
the
they did.
implication.
Okay.
During the final.
Yeah, so that's how they snuck
During
in
the
first time.
prelims, they were part of the grass team.
So I don't know. Maybe he freaking had Zetsu cells at the time, and we just didn't know, to where he could just mask his chakra signature to be like theirs. I don't know how he did it. He just did.
Bro,
it.
it's more like
It's a
he just
property
did
of
what
the
he
face
touched.
stealing
I
jutsu. I don't know.
don't know why you think it's so unrealistic.
He had Anbu. He had Anko's curse mark, and then Anko doesn't set it off, so Orochimaru couldn't. There you go. They didn't
It wouldn't-
know
I
Kabuto was
guess
bad.
the
This
sound
time.
for it.
The Sound Ninja were good. It all makes sense. It's all consistent. Anyways. All I know is that if the Boruto anime came back weekly rather than seasonal, if Boruto came back looking half as good as it did, it'd look as good as ever. Take that, Sauron. So moving on. Oh, this is a fun one. Here, I'll share my screen for this, since this is a lot. Well, I guess I'll just post a picture in chat. Doesn't matter. So here's this. I'm sure you guys know where
I
I'm
can't
going
see
with
X. I'm
this.
upstairs.
Oh, okay, well.
I don't know because I'm not seeing. But give me a minute.
So you know
What,
And then I
when
will.
Sekitashi?
you know when Itachi is fighting Sasuke, and at the very end he's like coughing up blood.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a dialogue bubble here around Itachi. Itachi is screaming the word hack. Okay. So I'm curious what you guys
Word
had a
what?
thought about that. So what does Sick Itachi desperately want hacked? Does he want to hack into like the Leaf's database? Is he telling Sasuke to go back to Konoha to hack into it? Is he telling Sasuke, don't trust Danzo, you need to hack Danzo's eyes? Or is he like, is he trying to convince Sasuke to hack the Akatsuki? Like, what does Sick Itachi want to be hacked here? Is he screaming out
Maybe
because...
he's trying to hack his sickness.
Yeah, because Itachi, I don't know if Itachi's screaming it to Sasuke or if he's just screaming it out loud. Like, because he's in a desperate situation. He wants something hacked for sure. So another possibility.
Or maybe he's just calling Orochimaru a hack because he just stopped
Hmm.
Orochimaru.
That's possible as well. So the question is, who does he think the hacker is? Is Itachi calling himself the hacker, or is he saying even Zetsu, who's listening, could be the hacker? Or is he saying Sasuke should be the hacker, or already is the hacker? Maybe Sasuke's hacking Itachi right now. He's a cheater. It's like a mod, but even more illegal. Because like Kirin is kind of like a mod. Like it was unexpected. It's almost unfair in a sense. Feels like cheating the game. So who's the hacker?
Perhaps.
Kamui, thoughts?
I mean, I think he. Okay, so if I had to guess, either Itachi himself, because he needs to hack his sickness, or he's telling Sasuke. I don't think he's telling Zetsu or Obito or anyone else to hack.
Okay.
No, he could be saying for Sasuke to hack the fight. Like, Sasuke, you're still losing. Hack the fight. Use your mods. Win.
Yeah.
Like,
You could also...
because Sasuke's failing him.
You could imply because there's no computers or technology around, it's possible that Itachi was trying to teach Sasuke as a loving brother a life hack. You know, like turn the electricity off at night to save power, or like, you know, like you can turn a
He's
coat
like, I got a
hanger
hack for you.
into like a step stool or something. You know, just a life hack to make his life more convenient. A final like legacy to pass on to his brother. Just the knowledge experience that he's accumulated through his life. Just passing something on to remember him by. Make his life more convenient.
Yeah, I think that's pretty likely.
Yeah. So my theory about this is I think, well, what if it's about hacking the secrets of the Mangekyo? I think that's thematically relevant. It's like foreshadowing for the eternal Mangekyo going forward. It's Itachi, he's about, like, Sasuke's about to get Itachi's Mangekyo. It's really narratively significant, I think. So I think that's what I'm going with, especially for, like, the stone tablet. What if Itachi knew the whole time? He's, like, trying to warn Sasuke about it through the secrets of the Mangekyo.
Wait, what if Itachi was actually trying to have the crow hack Sasuke with Koromatsukami, and that's him, like, telling, hey, hack him?
Technically, he did give it to Naruto, but I don't know if he gave the command to the crow at that moment. So maybe
Exactly, this might be the command right here.
Yeah, this is the moment.
Yeah, when he realized, like, okay, I gotta do it now.
Yeah. So, Dygo, which of these headcanons are you going with the most? And follow-up question, why do you deal with our nonsense?
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, well.
When did he leave?
Quietly a moment ago, I suppose. Maybe his, like, internet cut out. I'll just go with that. Well, I guess that answers my question of why or how do you deal with our nonsense? That's the answer.
He doesn't.
That was the most effective way he could have answered that question. Okay. Well, other topics before finishing off with Himawari's genetics, because there was more there I want to talk about. So, in your latest video, or 2 videos ago, I guess now, okay. So this is funny. So, you agree in your video based on what Amato says. So Amato says that he can reopen a door. That much he can do.
Mm-hmm.
He also says that door no longer exists. My question is, how did Amato reopen a door that no longer exists?
So I think it could be a translation thing.
I know, but
where
it's way more fun to think it's a shut open thing,
like,
rather than a manifesting existence thing. Because the analogy is on a house. So, like, Kamui, hypothetically, remove the door from your house and then reopen the door on your house. I'll wait.
Yeah, exactly. It's like what he really means is rebuild the door in that case. Or, like, you would either have to make the analogy the door is closed and I'm reopening it, or the door is gone and I'm rebuilding it. I think closing the door and reopening works better in that case, but, like, either way, yeah, it doesn't work the way he said it. But I think part of that could just be translation, obviously.
So,
but
obviousness aside,
yeah, that doesn't actually make sense.
So, obviousness aside, so Kamui, how do you think Amato reopened a door that no longer exists? How did he do that?
Are you asking me?
Could it be like a Shinjutsu? No. Like obviousness aside. Like, in the same way, what was Itachi hacking? Well, here, how is Amato reopening a door that no longer exists? The door doesn't exist anymore, so how did he reopen it? Yeah. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, he took his hand, grabbed the doorknob, twisted it, and just kicked it open.
Like, he's very akin to scientific ninja tech. He even has genjutsu with this weird sound thing. And so it's possible that he, like, did something with that, or, like, even related to, like, a Shinjutsu. Like, he knows all about it. Like, even, like, he's a geneticist, as you like to say, a clone and a Kebi and stuff. And so maybe he cloned the door, but then replaced it with, like, quantum entanglement. And so he reopened the door that no longer exists by opening the door that does now exist, which is quantum entangle linked to the door that doesn't exist, which is how he opened it.
I think cloning would have worked for, like, got closer to an actual answer. The only problem is the power was already gone, and he never got, like, a copy of it to clone, so that would just not work in that case. Otherwise, because that's what I think I'm going to do with Jigen's karma. In all honesty, I think he just cloned it onto people, but that's besides the point. Yeah, I think Amato used his sound device, and it went like wee, 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 woo, and its noise, and then Kawaki's karma just reappeared, and he said, "Wow, how did you fix my hand?" And Amato's like, "Oh, don't worry, I have my means." Ha 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 ha. And Sumire like, "Wow, you're not suspicious at all, Amato." He said, "Yes, indeed. I am not suspicious, I promise." Well, grinning. But that's how it happened.
Okay. Well, okay. Going back to like Kawaki's karma seal really quick, I guess. It doesn't make sense. Okay, I'm fine with him reopening it himself with his Ishiki data. But it doesn't make sense that it would be his karma seal based on that, though. Like, I understand that Amado has Kawaki's karma, like his data. I'm guessing probably from even before he got the karma, so it's like 100% Kawaki data. But even if he put it in that karma, like, and reopened it, like, he has to put Akabi's data in there too, which is the only way that makes sense. So then he should be part Akabi data too, but then, like, it should, like, why does it stop extracting? Because he's reopening the door. I don't care if the soul is extinguished. At least it would extract to 100%, and then the soul just couldn't go in, and it would still be extracted 100%.
So, like, this is where it's kind of like both stupid but makes sense. If Amato, we don't know what's in the data aggregate. Like I said, it could be just Akabi's data. It could be a mix of Ishiki and Akabi, a mix of Kawaki. Ishiki doesn't really matter. The point, but we know that Akabi's data is in it. Let's just say it's a mix of all three for the hell of it. He plants this data aggregate. Or let's just say actually, it doesn't really matter. All right, he implants the data. So inside Kawaki's hand or his arm, there's just Akabi data like is part of Kawaki's body right now.
Yeah.
In there. And then Kawaki